Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back. Thanks for spending a little time with me. Today we're going to be talking about 80s movies, and they're my favorite. I was born in the 80s, so I'm not going to say a whole lot about why I like each movie. It's just they were movies that I grew up with, and so I love them. I have quite a few of them, so we'll get right into it. All right, so the first one is Flight of the Navigator. And in 1978, a boy travels 8 years into the future and has an adventure with an intelligent, wisecracking alien ship. So if you've seen any of my series before, you know that I like space movies, so this is kind of along the same lines there, but it's just a classic 80s movie, and some of the stars in it are Joey Kramer, Paul Rubens, Cliff DeYoung, Veronica Cartwright, and Sarah Jessica Parker is actually in it. So the next one is The Never Ending Story, and it's about a troubled boy diving into a wondrous fantasy world through the pages of a mysterious book. The main actors in it are Barrett Oliver, Gerald McRaney, and Noah Hathaway, who is the person that plays Atreyu. It's just a cool story about a kid being imaginative and really diving into the book that he's reading. And again, just a classic 80s movie. The next one is Say Anything. A noble underachiever and a beautiful valedictorian fall in love the summer before she goes off to college. And the stars in it are John Cusack, I'm not sure I'm gonna say this right, Ione Skye, and John Mahoney. Just a classic love story. Takes you back to high school. So anyways, love that one. Next up is Raiders of the Lost Ark. In 1936, archaeologist and adventurer Indiana Jones is hired by the US government to find the Ark of the Covenant before Adolf Hitler's Nazis can obtain its awesome powers. Stars in it are Harrison Ford, Karen Allen, and Paul Freeman. This is directed by Steven Spielberg. So this is a movie that my brother loved, and so of course I ended up having to watch it and then liking myself. It's just a nice, fun adventure to watch, so love that one. Next up is Beverly Hills Cop. And it is about a freewheeling Detroit cop pursuing a murder investigation who finds himself dealing with the very different culture of Beverly Hills. The stars are Eddie Murphy, Judge Reinhold, and John Ashton. So obviously it has Eddie Murphy in it. I love him. And it went on to be a series, I can't remember, 2 or 3, but it was fun. Next one also has Eddie Murphy in it, and it is Coming to America. It's about an extremely pampered African prince who travels to Queens, New York, and goes undercover to find a wife that he can respect for her intelligence and will. Oh, I didn't realize that Eddie Murphy was one of the writers, but obviously he's one of the stars in it. Paul Bates and Garcelle Bouvet, I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but love that one. I don't know what else to say about it, but definitely got to add that one in there. Next up is Inner Space, which is about a test pilot who is miniaturized in a secret experiment and accidentally injected into a hapless store clerk. The stars in it are Dennis Quaid, Martin Short, and Meg Ryan. So you got a lot of well-known actors in there. And this one just made me crack up. It was just the coolest idea being a kid and thinking, that was a possibility. And it kind of is along the lines of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, just the accidental being shrunk and being a, really, 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 really tiny person in the world. And what that experience is like, but I love that one, super funny. The next one should be no surprise. I think when anyone thinks of the 80s, they should think of Big and Tom Hanks, who is one of my all-time favorite actors, but along with John Cusack. Let's see. So, after wishing to be made big, a teenage boy wakes the next morning to find himself mysteriously in the body of an adult. So, another imaginative story, being a kid, but, you know, being able to be an adult in some magical way. It's almost like 13 going on 30, but that was not an 80s movie. The stars in it are Tom Hanks, Elizabeth Perkins, and Robert Loggia. Sure. Apparently I'm not very good at pronouncing names, but anyways, love this one. I love watching it. I don't even know how many times I've seen it, like 100. Okay, maybe like 50. But yeah, gotta see that one if you haven't. All right, the next one is Short Circuit. A group of experimental robots in a lab that get electrocuted and suddenly become intelligent. And number 5 is the one that escapes, and it's all about him and, you know, what happens. The stars in it are Ali Sheedy, Steve Guttenberg, and Fisher Stevens. I think there are more, but this movie, you have to listen very carefully. But there are so many little jokes in there that probably just flew over your head as a kid. But it's one of those movies that if you pay attention to it, you're like, what? What did he just say? But I love it, and yeah, super 80s and funny. All right, and the last classic 80s movie is The Princess Bride, which is about a little boy who stays home being sick, and the grandfather comes over and reads him the story of a farm boy turned pirate who encounters numerous obstacles, enemies, and allies in his quest to be reunited with his true love. Stars in it are Carrie Elway, Mandy Patinkin, and Robin Wright. This was just very entertaining, really. And it was a love story, so I liked that. But yep, another classic 80s. And ooh, it also has, or had, Andre the Giant in it. I don't know if I saw him in any other movies besides that, but I liked him. It had Fred Savage, who plays the little boy. Who else? Peter Falk, who's the grandfather. So Mandy Patinkin is Inigo Montoya. I love that character. But anyways, very enjoyable movie. So if you haven't seen it, take a look. All right, y'all, so that is it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any 80s movies that you love that I didn't talk about it, leave it in the comments below. And until next time, take care.